I'm Rob Van Dam. The whole show.
Hey, what's up? It's Dominic D'Angelo. It is RVDTV.com. It's RVD's YouTube channel. It's a Sunday night, and we are live here with none other than Mr. Who? It is Rob Van Dam. But
Rob Van Dam. Give it
right.
to him.
Yeah, look at that. And we got a very, very special guest. Philippines on. Frankie Citro is joining us. Frankie, good to have you here, brother.
Yes, this is my friend Frankie. Thanks for coming on the show today.
You know, let me tell you, listening audience, guys, this has been a long time coming, and I've been really looking forward to it. But because of Rob's schedule and things that I'm doing, we keep on mismatching. And I think this is the most perfect time to do what we're going to do.
Boom.
I hope everybody's going to enjoy what they see and hear. If not, I don't give a fuck.
There you go.
Well, Frankie, it's great to have you here. It's great to have you with the you're thank you. It's very nice to have you here. And if you guys don't know, the live chat is not unaware. Frankie Citro he's from the Las Vegas area with Rob as well, but he's a part of Vegas's infamous Black Book. And the Black Book, the inclusion means you can't own, manage, or enter a casino. The only way off the list is to die, or even the state regulators require a death certificate as proof that you are indeed truly departed. Frankie, you've been a part of that Black Book. Rob, do you want to give any added context to that, or Frankie?
Yeah. So basically, like, I don't really have that many people that I hang out with in Las Vegas. You know, when I am in town, I'm a homebody. I hardly ever leave, but when I do leave, I love getting together with Frankie. So he comes like when I do stand-up comedy or our baby shower, you know. It's one of my only close friends that I can probably count on one hand. And so you know, to me, I love being around him and stuff. But one of the things that he's more well known for is for being in that Black Book and being alive. You get excluded from it, like you said, from passing away. But Frankie has a goal to get excluded from the Black Book, and he's been petitioning, and this is something he's been working on, and so he'll talk a little bit about that. But he has been everywhere. He's you know, he says he's from the Las Vegas area, and he has been, I think, since the 70s. But
way before that.
Yeah. Before that,
yeah.
He's from California. He's from New York. He's from Chicago,
Jersey.
Wow. New Jersey. Yeah. So
I've traveled a little bit.
Yeah.
Well, you know, if you would like, if I could intercede that now and then, you know, let me try to explain to your listening audience.
Did you start in Chicago?
No, Jersey.
You started in Jersey.
That's where I'm from, Jersey.
Okay.
Yeah. And I came out here into Vegas, I would say like in the middle of 62.
Did you know Sam the Plumber di Cavalcanti?
Well, so anyway, you know, my whole life, I'm supposed to not remember names and stuff, and now they want me to remember names. Mm. So let's not say who I know, who I didn't know, because that can put me right back in the jackpot. You know? But there aren't, to be really realistic to your people, there aren't too many people that I didn't know of, and they knew me. And one of the reasons why they knew me, without throwing flowers at myself, I was a stand-up guy on every way, shape, and form. I didn't care what they did to me, how they did it, and how long. And which is proof right now when I'm going up against the Gaming Commission. And, you know, I don't want to make them angry. For those of you that have a computer, I don't even own a computer, you know. So
nice.
If you go to a computer and you look me up, pack a lunch, because you're going to be there a while. And let me explain a little bit what the Black Book is. The Black Book was written many, many years ago in the late 60s. And it was to exclude people that were not wanted in the casinos. That was a way of them justifying their paychecks and all that bullshit.
Undesirables.
Yes. And, you know, I fit in the category for more than one reason at the time. They didn't like Italians. They didn't like people from back east. I was a guy who stood up to everybody. And believe me, I got the bullet wounds, stab wounds, and punch wounds to prove, and those were the winning ones. And so anyway, I was a candidate for a lot of years. And then when I was on one of those government paid vacations I had to go on, I came back home, and they gave me a situation where I had to go before the commission. And what this is,
Was that Harry Reid?
he was part of all of that.
Okay.
You know, yeah, he's no prize, you know.
Okay.
And so actually they call it the Black Book, but it's gray in color. It's the list of excluded persons. Unfortunately for me, not only I'm not allowed in the casinos in Nevada or anything like that, I'm not allowed in any casino in all of the United States.
Oh,
And I'm
wow.
the person in history that's not allowed in any casino in the world.
Wow.
How would you like to have that title?
Wow.
And
hey, is the Black Book, is that jurisdiction more than Vegas or more than Nevada? Or
well,
no?
what happens, Rob, is what happens is once Nevada put me in the book.
Yeah. How big is the jurisdiction of the book?
I think it's they got it up to like 40 members of the Nevada book right now.
It's
I'm the
all set.
21st one.
Reno, everywhere.
Oh yeah,
Okay.
yeah, right. And then when Atlantic City came along, they wanted, you know, they put a couple of hundred people in. It's all nonsense. But it's not nonsense. I'm going up against the same people that wrote all the laws. That's kind of tough court, you know.
Sure.
And, you know, I had a lot of bad feelings earlier, but now, listen, my age creeped up on me. I got a big family, my health, and I have a different attitude, but I'm one of the only guys ever in history, and I'm going to clarify something. They don't even take you off the list if you're dead.
They don't.
They don't.
Really?
The only guy, Stu, I just filed a petition to the commission with my attorneys requesting a hearing. And they don't have to give me a hearing. They got 90 days to answer me, you know. But I think by proof that I've been a good guy for a long time, I've been walking with 2 feet in a shoe, you know, because I wanted to change my life around. And I just might have a chance. So why I'm doing a lot of this is for moral support, you know, and anybody out there would like to look me up, you'll find out I'm the real deal, you know, and I don't lie. And I'm sure not afraid of anybody because the proof is I've been up against the United States government since I'm 11 years old, Rob. You know, I mean, that's a pretty big army, you know?
Yeah.
And anyway, they placed me in there, and I did something at that time that really sort of pissed them off. I showed up at the commission in a tuxedo, and they were furious, you know.
That, huh?
And there's a whole story about how I became famous about that because, actually, if you want to know, because we got the time, this is what happened.
Sure.
Let's
When
hear
I
it.
was released in 1990, I came home. The next day, there was a couple of detectives at the door with some paperwork requesting my presence at a hearing. That's bullshit. That wasn't good. That was demanding you be there. I say requesting,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
And the paperwork that they gave me was a little blurry, and I couldn't make out whether they said black tie or black book. So I wanted to show all the respect in the world because I never was nominated for anything. So I showed up in a tuxedo. Little did I know, instead of them giving me an Oscar, they gave me the boot. So they weren't too happy about that.
Why is that? I mean, I don't know
Well-
much about dress codes myself, but
Well, I was a little angry at the time, you know. Come on, I just got doing a stint. And
but is
now
it
they put me
respectful to dress up?
well, not in a tuxedo to go to the gaming commission board, you know.
Okay.
that was a little bit of a burn, you know. So, because I mean, I wouldn't do it again, but that was a lot of years. It was 1991, you know.
Yeah.
So I just wouldn't do that again. But you know, your mind changes about a bunch of things. I made some serious promises, which I've been quoted now in numerous newspapers around the world. I mean, they're calling me from everywhere, man. You know, and this might be my ticket for them. We're hoping that the state of Nevada's commission will grant me a little help and say, you know what, this guy paid all his dues, did everything way beyond the thing. This is time to show a little kindness. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I mean, they let murderers out of prison for good behavior, like the DeMeo crew. Like, they killed so many, and they just like, boom, they're free now.
One of the things I had to do just recently, and you know, I'm telling you the truth, I'm working with a bag of nickels. The organized crime business is not flourishing, man, you know. So I had to send away to every department in Washington, that's every department you can think of, for my criminal records to prove to them that I have not had a problem. You understand? Because just because I say I haven't had a problem, that doesn't mean they have to accept what my attorney or I say. So I had to send away for it. They searched all over for that. I went to Europe to prove I haven't had a problem in 35, 40 years. You understand what I'm saying? And that's a big deal, man, because everybody else that they put in there has had some kind of recurrence. I haven't had one.
Hey, yo, taking this quick break to tell you about the Perfect Gene. Perfect Gene's legitimate. This is a fact. This is a shoot. 100%. The Perfect Gene, that pair of jeans I own, is my favorite pair of jeans I have ever owned. Bar none, hands down, 100%. That's a fact, Jack. And for good reason why. I got the Joker Blue. Boom, look right here. This is my pair of perfect jeans. They look great. The Joker Blues, baby. I got these. 28, 30 is my size, if you were curious. But I'm not going to tell you, too, if I have pants on or not right now. But this is my favorite pair of pants I own. Favorite pair of jeans I've ever owned. 100%. You got to get the Perfect Gene. The fit is comfortable. The look is great. And I feel confident anytime I go. If I have an audition, if I have to go somewhere pretty nice on a date, whatever it may be, I wear this pair of jeans because it looks good and it makes you feel good. So you can feel good as well and save 15% with us at One of a Kind with RVD. And it's real simple. For a limited time, our listeners get 15% off their first order plus free shipping at theperfectgene.nyc, or hey, just Google The Perfect Gene and use code RVD15 for 15% off. That's 15% off for new customers at theperfectgene.nyc with promo code RVD15. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. F your khakis and you get the Perfect Gene. No doubt about it.
I'm a dedicated guy in a lot of ways. You know, I smoked 66 years. I quit cold turkey when I had my open heart surgery. You know that. Quit cold turkey because I could do that. When I said I was never going back to prison, I promised my wife, I meant it. And when I say something, I mean it. And I decided I'll do everything they wanted me to do punishment-wise. I did it. And I went beyond that. And so just maybe, because society has changed, you know, the board has changed a lot, just maybe they'll show me a little bit of kindness, because what I like to do, you know, I do shows, you know that. I've done so much entertaining. I enjoy doing it. I can't go into the bigger venues like the casino where I can earn a legitimate living. You know, I don't have that much time left on this planet, man, you know. So I promised my wife a couple of things, and I'm going to try to do it. And plus my children and all. And for those of you that don't know, I lost my oldest daughter a year, 3 months ago.
Condolences.
And she was
very sorry.
1 year old. Oh, she was 60. She was 64 now. And I'll tell you the truth, Rob. I'm not the same man anymore after losing my girl.
I can imagine.
I'm not the same man, you know.
Yeah.
And I'm not looking for sympathy. Believe me, I'm not. You know, Robert knows me a lot of years. Ain't nobody ever can say I ever asked anybody for anything. I don't. I'm a self-contained person. I put my own pants on every day. I don't get involved with anybody else's business. I don't want to know about it. I can't change the past, Rob. You understand? But
Yeah.
I'm not talking about the past anymore. Yeah. I'm only talking about the future. Now, what can they do? I mean, I think society might say, you know what, this guy deserves a little bit of a break. I mean, they don't have to give it to me, but I think I got it coming, man.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Well, if you look at Vegas nowadays in comparison, like it's so much more of a inviting place, like not just for adults, obviously, but I mean, like people bring their kids, and I mean, there's like so much other things to do. Sports teams that come there now, so you got the Raiders there, you have the the Vegas Knights, the hockey team.
We're the leader in sports, leader in tech. We're going to be the leader in entertainment with Sony Productions and Mark Wahlberg bring their studios here.
See,
like,
wow,
Vegas is really leading.
Well, you know, you touched upon something very important.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they have the Mob Museum here that's very big, right?
Yeah.
Well, they wanted me to work at the Mob Museum before it was even built. But
wow,
I can tell everybody I'm a gangster. That's BS. Come on.
What do they want you to do?
They wanted me to walk around and say, hey, I'm Louis. Get the hell out of here. I don't do that anyway, you know. I mean, I could be William Buckley if I have to be. I don't have to do the Dems and Does, you know.
Yeah, right. But before that opened up, at the Tropicana, they did the Mob.
I was in that too.
Yeah, and then they had that. It was like interactive, where they had somebody pretend they were. You get a password and go tell my friend Mo.
And 3/4 of the people who work there, they're just regular guys that look like gangsters,
right?
You know.
So they wanted you to play a gangster.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna do that.
Right.
Come on. And I mean, I've been pleading not guilty since I'm 11 years old. I'm gonna change, you know. So it's really funny. It's not funny, you know. I know a lot of people know me, and let me tell you something, Rob. You have a great reputation. I have a reputation too. And in the last 40 years and before that, people know one thing about Frank Citro. If I give my word, I keep it. I never break a promise. Otherwise, I don't give it.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I am from an old cut of cloth. I know it sounds like I'm throwing the bouquets at myself, but I'm different. And that is some of what we're doing right now, man. You know?
Honesty goes a long way on this podcast. It's one of my values that I respect a lot. And I feel like sometimes when I'm talking with the fans, like some of them, like, because that's not one of their values, they don't understand it. No. They don't know what integrity is. And so like there was this wrestling promoter, Bad Business Bobby.
Oh, yeah.
And when it came time to pay me this a couple of years ago, like it was a big thing on the internet. Instead of paying me, he said, hey, I'm a little short. I'll get you next week. And the next week he said, hey, you know what? I'm losing too much money. I quit the business. I'm done. And then afterwards, he just kept on running, but was hiring cheaper people. And then saying that the worst part is he was just saying that I made it up, and he thought I was just going to be fine with that.
Right,
dude, that's my reputation. Nobody ever says that RVD's full of shit. You can't just throw that in there because that's what you do to everybody else.
They've done documentations on me, and there's a couple of things that I've always said. I used to say that Vegas was the greatest town on the planet. I mean, this was a Disneyland for grown-ups, but some of the decisions that they made with all these theme parks.
Best years.
Yeah,
what were the best years in Vegas, you think?
Well, I would say, you know what? I'm going to say this. You ask anybody of a certain age group that has been to Vegas, who has lived in Vegas, they'll all say the same thing as I'm going to repeat right now. Wow, I wish the good old boys still ran this town. Because let me tell you something, folks. When the good old boys ran this town, you didn't have the crime, you didn't have the drugs. A woman could walk down the street any hour of the day or night. Nobody was thinking about saying boo to her, forget about doing something. Now you got every derelict, homeless. This is BS. Get on board with this here stuff, you know?
What year did you come to Vegas?
The first time I came to Vegas was in the middle of 1962. And then
Wow.
after a lot of trips, I moved here in, we'll say 1969, and still made a lot of trips,
Okay.
you know. And then in between then and now, there was a few times I had to go on those government paid vacations, you know, which was part of the cost. But
yeah.
that's all behind me, man.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I know you don't. You said, you know what? Let's not mention who you knew and who you didn't. But one guy that seems really interesting to me that I read on about a lot is Tony Albanese, Tony Paradise. Did he have his old location like still when you were here on Flamingo and Paradise? Or?
Well, he was a little bit of a known figure. You know, I haven't heard about it. You know, I'll tell you something. When this all came about getting into the newspaper about 3 months ago, somebody did a big article, and that's how this all came about. And I put a team together because it was time.
Yeah.
I was in the process of writing my own one-man show, as you know, which was going to be terrific. I mean, my agent, who's been with me almost 40 years, he says, I wish you would have thought about this years ago. He says, because actually, people in the know said my show will probably be as good, if not better, than Chaz Palminteri about the Bronx Tale, because all we could talk about was the Bronx Tale. Me, I had a lot to talk about, but now I have to put everything on a holding pattern because I don't want to talk about the past so much, you know, and I want to prove to to the commission that all that I've done is behind me.
Right.
I just want to, you know, I made promises, I haven't broken, you know, and there's some things I can't change, but I changed. I did a show, Rob, where I got guys inducted to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Yeah, you know I know a lot about music, right? And in the middle of the show, you always get something technical that happens, you know, with the cameras or the sound. So I had a stall. And so I got the microphone, and they're trying to correct everything. And there was so many people there. They had to shut over 100 people away, even media, because there was no room for them in the building.
Yeah.
And I said something to the faculty, you know, I know a lot of people that always been behind me, and I said something to this effect, Dominic.
Mm-hmm.
After all these years, if I was to walk into a casino, who the hell would even know me? You know what I'm saying? Wait a minute. And then let's suppose they did know me. Would a woman would say, "Oh my God, there's Frankie Citro," jump up on a chair in fear? That wouldn't happen. Would a man say, "Oh my God, there's Frankie, let's run"? That ain't gonna happen. That never happened. Do you know something? I'm the only person ever to never have a problem in the casino. They can never say I cheated one, robbed one. I never even had an argument in the casino. So it wasn't the casinos that were angry at me. It was people that went to them and dropped my name down to them and said, you know, and there was reasons for that. You understand? They didn't like me. I would never cooperate with anybody.
Mm-hmm.
They always wanted my cooperation because I sort of like was supposed to be in the know of things. And if I wasn't gonna fucking tell them. You know, to myself. And you're tough as you are, and I wouldn't want to fuck with you. You couldn't beat it out of me. I've had the best of them beat my ass, you know, and I wasn't giving it up, you know. So what I know is going to go to the grave to me. You understand what I'm saying? And everybody, even my children, would say to me, "Dad, aren't you ever afraid that somebody's gonna?" I said, well, you know, they might use me as a stepping stone. I'm not like some of these guys on these podcasts professing how great they are. Some of them I've actually MF'd a lot, really bad. because they're full of shit.
Mm.
You think I'm like Sammy the Bull?
Yeah.
Yeah, he killed a lot of people, but he's a punk.
Yeah.
He's a punk.
Did you meet him? Did you
I wouldn't even let him walk next to me back then. You understand?
No.
I didn't need the popularity. You know, popularity only gets you in trouble.
Get
You
your
got
girl
this Michael
sometimes.
Franchese, who's another rat bastard. You understand what I'm saying?
But you
And
probably-
he's out there like he's the King Kong now, you know?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something about Franchese. And I don't give a fuck because a few years ago I did a podcast and I brought them all out and I said, anybody wants to knock on my
Getting a
door?
crazy look in your eyes, bro.
I can't help that.
He's getting a crazy look in his eyes.
Getting intense.
They're garbage. You understand?
Yeah.
And I said,
Michael Francis, what do you do?
Michael Franchese, listen, I give guys the credit. Michael Franchese was very smart. He's the one that made billions of dollars with the mob because he invented the gas thing. You understand?
Yeah, 3 to 10
And so he
million
never
dollars
was
week.
a tough guy.
Right.
He never, but nobody was going to let him be touched because he was making money.
And his
And
dad-
he's
his
walking
dad was
around.
tough.
His father was the good guy.
Yeah.
His father did all the time. His father was a wise guy. Hip, forget about it. You know, he came to Vegas and he was down at the Union Plaza. He bullshitted some people to get in there. Frankie Citro had to come out. He's full of shit, and he's on every show there is nowadays.
Yeah. he's
I wouldn't even.
successful.
I used to see him in the discotheques back home. I never walked with nobody. I'm a crowd by myself, brother. I really am. I didn't need nobody. I just didn't need that. And that was.
So I guess you didn't see Michael's one-man show down at the plaza. That was.
You know why I'm
planned.
really mad at that guy?
No.
Now you was involved with me and come up when I had to speak easy and everything. I was defending that bastard for a couple of years, saying, no, he's a good guy, good guy. And I found out from good sources, and then a report that came out that he was malamend. You understand? And here I was defending him. So I got no use for him, you know. And years ago, back in the 60s, back east, you know, I was from Jersey, but I used to go to New York, do a lot of things. He'd be walking around like fucking Rudolph Vasolino, you know.
No.
And I didn't want him to be near him. I didn't need him. I didn't need his clout, those guys.
Now, what he's done, have you watched? Well, you don't have a computer, but he does a YouTube show, Franchise. He does.
I know.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he tells a lot of his stories and stuff like that. Is what he says, though, is it pretty accurate in regards to like
A lot of stuff he was firsthand with them because he was involved with them.
Mm-hmm.
But the
Sure.
thing is, the guy's no good, man. I don't care. Listen, one of the things that I will never, ever do, even if you gave me Southern Pentatol, I won't do it.
Right.
I would never rat on a fucking guy who threw a cigarette butt. You understand?
Right. Yeah.
I've gone to prison. I've paid dues because I wouldn't say nothing. I ate it.
Mhm.
Michael was saying this guy was a good friend of his, so I'm thinking maybe you might not like him, but how's Joey Cusimano?
I got no use for that prick.
Figured.
No use for that prick.
Okay.
Another man motherfucker would be tough guy. His word means garbage. And you can tell him I said it.
Yeah.
But I'm not looking for no trouble.
No, just
But
give
I
your
won't
opinion.
run away from somebody. I won't do it. I listen, I got, like I said earlier, I got the bullet wounds and stab wounds from the winning ones. You know, I might be an old man, but I'm not looking for that. I really ain't. And I can't help it. I get a little passionate, Dominic,
For sure.
because I'm the guy that's had to live this.
You're right.
I mean, I'm the greatest survival story there is. How would you like to live in a place where you can't go any place?
Right? Oh, but that's some wild stuff for sure. So, Frankie, when did so you mentioned, you know, obviously like banned in Vegas and worldwide. When did the other areas come into play, like nationwide and then worldwide? Was that the same time, or did it just happen over time?
I used to know a lot of statistics, you know.
Uh-huh.
Vegas, when they start losing all the personal people that own the casinos and start going to the corporations, it all went haywire. You understand?
Mhm.
You know, and they took that up close and personal. Look, Rob, let me tell you how it was, kid. This town was made up of the sharpest guys from all over. Smart guys, hip guys. Women, one better than the other. Now look around. All fucking meatballs and fucking mush. You understand? They come from more. They used to come to town, everybody got dressed. They look good.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
I get my best flip-flops out, and my fucking shorts, and the fucking mom, but to get out of here. It's horrible. They destroyed this town. You understand? Now, I'm sorry.
No, I was just gonna say, from what I understand, because I mean, I've read the book, you know, when the mob ran Vegas, and all the books that talk about how it was better back then. They say that it was all about the gambling, and that's where the money is. So they weren't charging a shitload for dinner or for shows.
They're killing $48 to park your car.
Yeah.
You know what? So when I hear
in.
that, I'm glad I can't go to the casino. I'm too old to fucking walk a mile.
Yeah.
So it's just, you know.
Used to be cheap food, cheap shows. They give you free shit, right?
Rob,
they know your name at the desk and treat you.
It was
like
up close to person. This is what happened. Suppose you came from wherever, right?
California.
You came from California. Let's discuss the other town that is. All right. So anyway, you come to town. Somebody say, "Hey, Rob, how you doing?" You know, they find out what kind of money you got with you, what kind of credit line you got. You came here with your girlfriend or whatever, or by yourself. They see you gambling or whatever. Suppose you blew 20 G's. What is that? That's a lot of money. Somebody would come over to you and say, "Listen, Rob, thank you for giving us a play. Put this in your hand. Take this home. Don't go home broke." You know why? That few $100 that he put in his hand, or maybe more, made you come back.
Right.
I went back home and said, "Hey, you know, I went to wherever." They saw I went fucking broke. Somebody came over to me. I never even seen this guy. Said, "Listen, man, don't worry about your tab up for the room, and stay here a couple more days if you want. You need a plane fare." They used to have junkets in those days, you know.
Yeah.
And you would go home and not feel broke, you know.
Can you explain what a junket is?
A junket was this here. Let's suppose Dominic, he's from Pittsburgh, right?
Right, correct.
I'll forgive you for that, but that's okay. So anyway,
that's thanks.
So there was a guy, and you have to forgive me, folks. My memory sometimes fails me a little bit. So if I don't pronounce the name right or there was a guy by the name of Julie. He used to run a lot of junkets from New York and Philly and all the, you know. And this is what happened. He was a popular guy. He'd get together 100 people, put them on the same plane. It was his junket. He put them in, we'll say, the Flamingo.
And
okay.
Yeah, no, they get a regular plane. They used to have charter planes, but they take a commercial flight, right? United will say, and they book all these people. He'd take care of all the bookings for their rooms and boom, boom, boom. Everybody would put up X amount of dollars to put in the cage so they can gamble with. So there was a big deal where they saved a lot of money. They were coming to gamble. He made some money because he's bringing all these people once a month, sometimes twice a month, maybe 2, 3. That's what a junket was. If you didn't have I'm going to tell you another thing. But if you had to go back home or come to Vegas, get a home. I got room on the plane. Come on. He put you on the plane for nothing because you're a good guy. He knows when you get some money, you're going to come gamble, make me look good. This town was made up on that. Now, they want to siphon every bit because the money is in the corporations. These people want to just know about their dividends. You understand what I'm saying? The money used to, I think there used to be the percentage was something like 78% of the money earned by the employees, maybe it might have been a little more, in this town was spent right back in the town because the people would spend it. But now that money can't be spent because the dividends are going out the door and never coming back. And you know, high finance with these buildings is unbelievable. You know, let me tell you what. I had to go to New York. I'm going to disclose this. I'm here. I got no fucking money, and I gotta go. So what I did, I called up the police department and I dropped a dime on myself. So they come and they lock me up and they transport me the next day to New York for the case.
Did you have a warrant in New York? Or?
Yeah. Well,
I mean, how'd you know?
Wait. I know they were going to do it because this was a crime that they didn't know about. See?
Okay.
So they come and got me because now they're looking to get me. Now they get me to New York and they find out I didn't do it. They let me out. I got a plane ticket for nothing. It just I had to go in cuffs. It was worth it. I saved myself a few hundred. I haven't told that to anybody in years.
That's tremendous.
Yeah, this son of a bitch didn't do that. Get out of here. Would take me back. I would say that on purpose. I ain't taking you back.
Take me back.
Wow. Nice.
Well, Frankie, you got you do have a pretty compelling case as to why like you should be off the black book and everything. Like you did, there's a lot of stuff that you were charged for, like potentially convicted for, but you have a case against a lot of that stuff. And on top of it too, there's a lot of good stuff that you do in the city of Vegas to help people out in a lot of ways. Like
I've done a tremendous amount of charity work.
Yeah. I just talked about it a little bit.
People wind up doing it because they wanted to eliminate my name, and that's okay with me.
Sure.
Continue to do it properly, you know. I don't need the credit for that. I don't want the credit for that. I was happy to do it. You understand what I'm saying? I did it for years. And then somebody would get the idea and they say, well, let's do it. But because they're a bigger entity and they're, you know, beautiful people, they were able to do it and I'd have to back away. That's okay, Rob. I'm okay with it. I really am.
Plant some seeds.
I
let someone else grow them.
I planted a few seeds.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Dominic D'Angelo of RVD TV, one of a kind with RVD, that is. And hey, we got one of our best sponsors here. That is none other than Mando. Man, I love the Mando because it makes you feel good, makes you feel confident, and you smell like an adult when you use it. I'm watching NFL football back here. I'm not sweating, but if I was, I'd be using Mando. Like one of these deodorant sprays. This is the Pro Sport. My favorite is the Mount Fuji, but Pro Sport is also really good. And if you're ever in a pinch, you just need a little freshen up here, boom, you just spray this down wherever, and you smell dang good. You smell like an adult. You don't smell like a college bro when you use Mando. That is a fact and a half and if you are a college bro and you use Mando, you're a step ahead of the game. You're not going to smell like everybody else. So definitely take advantage of Mando here. We at RVD TV, at One of a Kind with RVD, have something very special for you, and that is the Shop Mando Starter Pack. Yes, you can get $5 off your first starter pack here when you use Mando, and you use our promo code RVD. So Mando Starter Pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with a solid stick deodorant. Yes, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice, like the mini body wash and deodorant wipes. If you can, maybe try to get the deodorant spray, and free shipping. As a special offer for our listeners, new customers get 20% off site-wide with our exclusive code. Use code RVD at shopmando.com for 20% off site-wide plus free shipping. shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them that One of a Kind sent you. Mando's got you covered with deodorant plus sweat control. Say goodbye to sweat stains and hello to long-lasting fresh.
You know, one of the questions you started to ask me before, and I said, hold up, you can ask me now. I'll be very honest with you. Go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead, ask me it.
Oh yeah, though. So you talk about like all the different people that you've dealt with over time and stuff like that, and some of the history in there. How many tough guys have you got to know in your whole life? How many tough guys did you run into?
Well, to be quite honest with you, Dominic, I've only known 2 tough guys my whole life.
That's it.
And, yeah, and I still get the Christmas card from the other guy every year.
Great. That's great.
You know what? When I was a kid, Rob, no, and I know, I respect you. I love your wife. I can't wait till these 2 little babies come along. But that's another story. But I want to say something. I'm very serious. There was a time which I can't talk about now. It's not proper for me to tell you, which it'll come out down the road. But when I was a young kid back in Jersey, I used to belong to a gang. You know what it was called? The Mean 13. There was only another member besides me in the gang.
This guy.
That's the truth. Oh, God. Buddy and I, the 2 of us, we could rock and roll.
You 2 were the Mean 13, huh?
We were the Mean 13.
13.
Was that
That's a great action name.
Sinatra?
The truth of the matter is, Frank Sinatra was my very good friend.
Right. Yeah, I was going to ask you about the Rat Pack. So
I knew all those guys very well. I'll disclose something here that I've only said a couple of times, but as things are going to get going, my dad grew up in the same house with Frank Sinatra.
No way.
Yeah. Right. And actually, they parted company, I'd say around 17, 18 years old. That's when he really started to make it, But he kept in contact with my father. My father was a hardworking guy, and there's a lot about my mom and dad that I can't talk about now, but it will come out in my one-man show. And Frank would call my father for different circumstances, good circumstances, not bad circumstances.
Sure.
And because my father was a good guy, and my dad would be there for him because he was his friend, you said? Yeah. And I used to tease my dad. I said, look how lucky I am. Look, I couldn't come from his fucking loins. I had to come from yours. So my father, he would be so upset when I would say that. But anyway, my father was a good guy. But so he used to tell me a lot of things about him. And I know a lot of things. I happen to own something that nobody in the world's got. That's for another time.
That's really cool.
And so, there was a time I used to fight,
I know that's
and
true.
I went, and I've never disclosed what I'm saying, Dominic. I'm telling you.
Oh, all right. I
worked in nightclubs in New York as a bouncer, and I'm not a very big guy, but I could get down in my day,
Yeah.
And I used to have to earn a living, and I used to work in New York because I lived in Jersey. I never wanted to come back in case something happened,
Sure.
I was married very young. I had 2 kids very young. And I kept on always hearing the Golden Gloves,
Okay.
And then they had, so, I fucking had it here because I wanted to see how I can do.
Sure.
Sure.
I'll be honest with you. My boss said, so I sent in the advertisement that they had from the news in New York. Just never told nobody. All of a sudden, I get a letter at my house that I got to go for a physical. They accepted me, but I got to go for a physical to see if I'm healthy enough to do it. So I don't tell nobody nothing. I've been that way my whole life. I don't tell nobody, including my wife, right? I go to the thing, and in those days, in the New York Golden Gloves, they always wanted you to fight for the PAL or some kind of stuff. I was what they called an independent. I didn't have anybody I went by myself.
Frankie Carbo.
Yeah, I know. So They're all looking like, who's this fucking kid, this guy, you know? So I get a fight.
Pinky Palermo. Right?
I get a fight. My fight night is on Thursdays.
Okay.
Once you lose, you're out of the competition. So they tell me every Thursday you're going to fight someplace. They'll tell me wherever it's at. So the first fight I'm going to do is in Brooklyn, right? That's where they're going to have it.
Okay.
I go to Brooklyn. I don't know why. I go there. And everybody says, well, where's the guy with you? Who's your corner man? Who's the vet? I said, I got nobody with me. He says, you got trunks? I said, no. I said, I got a pair of, I got nothing.
Nothing.
I said, I got a pair of fucking Bermuda shorts. They weren't Bermuda shorts. They were a pair of dungarees I caught. So they're looking at this fucking kid.
Yeah.
There was a guy says, you just can't go in the ring like that. So he takes some wrappings because I got nobody to take my hands or nothing. And I know that I'm throwing the flowers at myself right now. So he says, I'll come in the corner with you. You know what I'm saying? I said, okay. I knocked this fucking guy out. Bang! Wait. Shorten up this very long story. I broke Joe Lewis's record 5 times in 1 month. I was beating everybody by 2 seconds every time I fought. 2 seconds. That the papers read. I think my daughter back, he still has those papers. Will Frankie Citro even get in the ring? I knocked the guy out in, I think it was 48 seconds of the first round. I'd had 5 in a row, right? And then when I lost it, at Madison Square Garden in the finals, they did something that they were sorry they did.
Oh.
I had a nose that used to bleed very easily, and I would use it to my advantage. Something like the way you might do when you're doing your wrestling.
Okay.
And so I would let an opponent in the street or something see they tag me. I'd take it and I'd smear it, see?
Yeah.
They think they hurt me.
Yeah.
That brought the tummy and bang, I give them I get them. So they didn't want me to bleed doing that because of everybody there. So they cauterized my nose. I never did drugs in my life.
What does that mean?
Well, they put this narcotic up your nose so you don't bleed.
Okay.
You understand? I don't know what you actually call it.
Yeah.
But it worked against me. So when I got hit with something, I was like in a fucking coma. I fought, not even knowing I beat this guy to death. But I was exhausted and I fell down, and they didn't want an independent to win. I'm giving you the history here. So they shut the fucking fight down and they gave it to the other kid. The other guy had to go to the fucking hospital. I don't think he's still in there. That was so, and then, there's a lot more to the story, but I still have some clippings and stuff like that. I wore, which I gave to my son, which you'll do maybe things with your daughters. I gave my mother and father was able to go on an extended vacation one time where they went to California. They went to Hawaii. My mother bought me a little robe type thing, paisley robe, but I'm not a paisley guy. It was red flamboyant. I used that. I put my name on that because my mother gave it to me, and I used to fight with that.
Jacket.
Yeah, that made it
Nice.
my body. I gave that to my son,
Nice.
and when I had it on, Rob, I felt pretty good, because my mom was the toughest opponent I ever had. Oh boy, the beating she gave me.
Frankie, how long did you fight for? How long did you fight for?
Well, if you didn't recognize me, I can lay down for you. I'll tell you the truth, Rob. I was on the canvas so many times, they thought I was a portrait. Now, I got to be honest with you. You got a lot of honesty coming out here. A lot of my records have been concealed for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
I used to fight under a lot of different names because I was going for the money. I used to go all over, and I would look for a guy who was the local favorite and go there and break his ass and make the money and leave town. You know,
Nice.
I'm being honest with you. You know, I
Yeah.
mean, I can't change that.
Yeah.
What? Yesterday I did an audition. You want to
Uh-huh.
hear a good story?
Oh, hell yeah.
Good story. This is the guy's honest truth. I don't lie. I don't have to lie. I'm like Superman. But oh, and I can't fly. So I did an audition yesterday for a movie. And I got dressed up for the part and whatever, and I wore a hat because they wanted me to play a part as a gangster. I don't know where they got that came from, in the 30s. And I have a hat, Rob, that I could name my price. Now, everybody knows I'm a hat person, right? This is an old 30s for that. So this is what happened. I'm in Cincinnati. And I go to this place in town, and they got all kinds of hats and everything like that. And I go in there, oh, yeah, boom, 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 boom. I got some money on me, right? So I said, yeah, give me this hat, give me that hat. The guy looks at me like this. I said, do you block the hats? So he knows I know about hats. He said, oh, yeah. I said, how long will it take? He said, I can get everything done in a couple hours if you can come back. He's looking like this to me. I said, what's with you? He said, can I ask you a question? I said, yeah. He says, did you fight last night at Cincinnati Gardens? I said, yeah. He says, you knocked that motherfucker out. He says he's never been off his feet. He says he's the favorite. He says, I won so much money on you.
Damn.
He says, listen, could you do me a favor? I said, what? Don't come back in an hour or so for your hats. Could you come back tomorrow? He says, I have something for you. This is true what I'm telling you, Dominic.
Hell yeah.
So I go back the next day, and he's got the 3 hats in the hat boxes exactly the way I like them. And now he says, I got something for you. And he pulls up another hat box, and he pulls out a hat. And I just look at this hat, and I am drooling. That's how beautiful it is, right? And he said, listen, I've been in this shop now about 23 years. My father was here for almost 40 before me. That's how long we have the business. He says, one day when my father was young in his career here, a guy walked in here with a hat to have it done, and he never came back for it. He says, this hat is not to go to anybody, to his son. He says, one day somebody's going to come through that door. That's who's supposed to have this fucking hat.
Then you'll know.
You'll just know. So he says he stayed up all night. We did the whole thing. And he says, I want you to have this. My father wanted you to have this hat. I can name my price. That's how great the material is. He redid it all. Now, about 15 years ago, maybe a little more, some people came into the house unexpectedly, so to speak.
Oh.
They damaged the hat. They stained it.
Oh,
And
no.
a friend of mine who I did a favor for brought it to California for me because I did him a couple of favors, and he had it relined and all. But I said, don't change the inside. I let him keep the Cincinnati location on the inside of the hat, you know, and that's one of my prized possessions.
Wow.
This man said, I know you're the guy that my father wanted to have this hat. I know it's a hat story, but that's pretty cool as far as I'm concerned. And he said, I want you to have this as a gift. I swear to God, I probably could ask $5,000-$10,000 for this hat. That's how great it is.
Wow.
Wow.
Dang,
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Like Toru Tanaka when he would
Yeah,
take the hat
yeah.
off and
Well, you know,
throw it. That's a James Bond.
well, you know, I just told a story about that. I just told it 3 days ago. Are you good for a story?
Oh, hell yeah.
Story. So
You get
I'm
first
all-
story?
Yep.
this guy you're talking about
Yeah.
from Goldfinger, right? Our
Yeah.
job, they called him.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm working this
Toru
night.
Tanaka, I think.
Yeah,
is
yeah.
his-
So I'm working this nightclub in New York. It was a wise guy joint, you know, and they sent me there. It was all black. I was the only white guy. I had to fight a lot of guys to prove that I can handle what I can do.
Yeah.
because I was going to be the maitre d', and I was keeping an eye on things. See, that's what it was. So I proved my point with everybody, and this was the greatest black club in all of New York.
In Harlem or
No,
in Brooklyn.
No,
In
Broadway, in New York City.
Oh, wow.
Well, Lloyd Price's turntable. Lloyd Price had many hits. You know, Lordy, Lordy, Miss Claudie and stuff like that. You know, Personality. You know, he was the owner. He went to the guys to get the money to do. He had a partner. And every week they would have another guest star. They were open 6 nights a week. And one week it'd be Aretha Franklin, another week Joe Tex, Ray Charles and the Rayettes. All and the place was packed every week. Now, James Brown is playing there. And, you know, everybody used to see this white guy in front of all the blacks and Muslims, and they would wonder if there'd be all right. So at the end of the week, they always, just like in the movies, they would have what they call rat parties. They'd have a party for everybody that played all week. And so Lloyd Price comes to me and says, Frankie, would you mind spending a little more time here tonight because the club closed at 4? He says, one of the guys had to go home and we need another. I said, of course, I'm not going to leave him short, right? So he said, I want you to, be my, table with you. Okay. So at the time I had a white jacket tuxedo on, and I go over the table, and folks, what I'm going to say, don't be thin-skinned, but this is the way it was. Mm-hmm. I went over, and I said, what are you fellas drinking tonight? And James Brown says to Lloyd Price, to my face, oh, we got our own white. And I went, what you say, motherfucker? And a hand went on my shoulder. It was his bodyguard. Like, he was 3 times the size of them, right? He was like a fucking molecule smaller than King Kong, this motherfucker. And he said, I said, you better get your hand off me because in a minute I'm going to fuck your mother. He said, what? Because I didn't back away from nobody, Rob. I'm not trying to be a tough guy. I was a tough guy, right? So Lloyd Price said, oh, man, you don't know what you just fucking did. This guy. So anyway, try to shorten up this long story. We're going to fight. And they're going to bet. I said, I'll cover all the bets. This guy was a monster. I said, I'll cover all the bets. The kind of balls I had, right? I said, here's the rule. We'll clear all the furniture to the side so that we don't bust up the joint. And the other rule is this. Only one of us walk away. That all right with you, brother? Says, all right with me. This guy never even lost a fucking argument. Forget about a fight. You know what I'm telling you? Yep. Everybody says, what? I said, he means it. I did mean it. I says, that's the rule. One of us can only walk away. So we fight way over an hour. He was throwing me around like I was a fucking aspirin. I'm coming back like I'm winning. I'm biting him. I'm hitting him. Yeah, the nightclub on Broadway.
Dang.
And he's kicking fucking a guy my size, hitting him shots, combination, fucking. I won't quit. We both look like we went through 3 meat grinders. Finally, they decided to say, listen, they're both going to die. Neither one's going to quit. So they said, let's call this a draw. So they said,
the rules.
Yeah, but then they said, so I said to the brother, I says, what do you think? He says, it's all right with me, I said, okay. So now all the other black guys, they went to get the table because it was like Mount Rushmore with money. They went to get their money. I said, get away from my fucking money. They said, what? I said, that's my money. I took the ends of the tablecloth. I made like a hobo thing, Trudeau. I says, come on. We went in the dressing room because all the cocktail waitresses, one was more beautiful than that, all black ladies, right? And they're going to, because I had to go home to my wife looking like I did, They're patching us up. We're sitting on the dressing table. And he said, man.
Where's the bodyguard? Did he go in with you?
Yeah, I said, come on. Yeah, I split the money with him.
Wow.
I says, cut up that money, take out a few dollars for each of you girls, and give my brother here half. He said, what? I said, you earned it, pal, and don't give no money back. So he said, you know, he says, I'm glad they called the fight. He says, because I'll tell you the truth, I was ready to quit in a minute. I said, I was gonna quit in 30 seconds. I gave him his due, you know. He said, where did they get you, man? You know. Okay. Awesome. So I said, listen, man, I gotta go outside to take care of something. He says, I know. I said, so sit here so you're not in the middle. I went outside, I walked right over to the two of them. Meanwhile,
over to who?
I went outside to James Brown.
Oh.
Something I had to straighten out with him.
Okay.
Now I find out later on, Lloyd Price said, you don't know what you're in for, James. This guy is not some.
Just because of that one comment?
You ain't calling me no fucking white. I don't care who you are, you know. Right. He was putting me down. I wouldn't call him an. No. You understand? Unless he aggravated me, you know. Yeah. I won't do it. I got black friends. I love them, you know. So I went over and says, you got something you want to say to me, motherfucker? He says, I want to say something to you, man. I am so sorry I used that term. You're a good guy. I heard about you now. He said, then I saw you. I said, we're good. And I let it go. You understand what I'm saying? Yeah. Now, if you had said something else, somebody would have been drawing a chalk line around that motherfucker. That's how mad I was, you know? And that's just me, you know? I'm very serious. I wasn't letting nobody get, you know, I don't think there'd be a black person on this planet that would like somebody saying that. They can say it to each other, but we can't, you know? Right. Not me. You act like one, I'll treat you like one, you know? And that's a true story.
Wow.
And it wasn't like you were going to have to, like, be around him and see him a lot. It was it was just.
And you know what? When he found out that I knew all his music and shit, he says, "Where's this fucking guy?" Because I like that stuff. You understand?
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. James Brown.
Was the bar owned by Matty the horse? I know.
So anyway, what happened was, well, you know. There's something that
he owned Broadway. He owned a whole bunch of those clubs.
I'll tell you, I got to be a little discreet here, guys, and because you know I'm having a good time with you right now. I'm able to explore some stuff, and you know a lot of things happened there. Lloyd Price's partner was stealing money from the club, and he was told a couple of times.
Oh shit!
Wow. Now, they did a movie with Grim Rides, who I love as an actor. He's terrific, right? And he played the fight promoter, Don King. And somewhere along the lines, they gave him some dialogue that is not true. And I always wanted to question, who gave you the dialogue? You know why? Because I was there. Okay. Yeah. And Don King never fucking said that. You know, so not there. But and I can't go into what all happened, but I've been around, Rob. I've been around.
No question. No question about that.
Hey, to circle back around real quick, you mentioned Frank Sinatra. Do you got any good D. Martin stories? I'm like, Rob might know I'm obsessed with D. Martin. So I have him tattooed on my arm and everything like that.
D. Martin story?
Yeah, you got a good D. Martin story?
Best.
All right, I'm ready. I'm ready.
I told this to anybody on air.
All right.
So I had
good question.
I had a ranch right down the street from a Legends in Concert guy, John Stewart. Right down the street, I had it
in Las Vegas. Yeah. Okay.
And my son, who you know, was just a little guy, you know. And I had come home from prison, and then the house that I had, they took for eminent domain. So I bought this here ranch. Okay. And the guy who lived across the street, him and his wife, they built all these new houses. This was an older house, you know, big, you know, 3/4 acre and everything, had a swimming pool. It was nice. And I fixed it all up because I was into that, knowing how to do all that stuff.
There was a lot less people back then.
Oh, yeah. This is 1990. Yeah, because I came home in 90, between 90 and 91. Okay. And my son is only a couple years old. The guy across the street who was Jewish, he was D. Martin's drummer. You understand? Really? His father was D. Martin's drummer all the years before him. Okay. So now he's got the oldest son and the daughter that's more like my son's age, dude, I am friendly with them today. The son is a jeweler, and the daughter does something for the city, and I'm still very. But anyway, the kid is older than my little guy Frankie, right? And he's hurting him all the time. He hit him with a fucking rock, and I went there. I was gonna. My wife, she's always the intermediate with. Look, she said, no, she said, go like a father. I says, he could have killed my kid, because he's bigger and smarter, and he was taking advantage of.
Yeah.
And then he locked him in the closet one time, and again I was gonna go from. So this way.
Brick.
So I come home one day, and I'm sorry to bore you with these here, but you asked me about Dean Martin, right?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
So I come home one day, and a little Frankie's crying like a son of a gun. And I said to my wife, what's the matter? She says, Joel's kid said something to the baby. I said, what did he say? He says, he told the kid that there's no Santa Claus, that mommy and daddy is Santa Claus. My son was devastated.
Yeah.
I says, what? So I says, I fucking had it. So I go over to this fucking house, and I says, I'm going to really give him a tune-up, right? And I go, and he comes out, and he's got the kids there, and I won't do it in front of the kids. And I said, look, man, what? And he says this to me. This is very poignant to the story. I said, your kid had why did he have to burst his balloon? He says, I believe in telling the truth about everything.
This is the dad.
This is the father. I heard that fucking light bulb went. I said, really? Okay. So now I know this kid in another day or so. My wife is very generous. They're always coming over for a piece of fruit or some popcorn or something. So I'm sitting outside in those days of smoke. I'm sitting outside. I'm having a fucking puff. Here comes a little fucking kid. I don't want to mention his name. Is not fair, He's a grown man now.
Still a prick.
And he was a prick then, but he's a good man now.
Okay.
He was a kid. He was. Yeah. My son was like 4. He's like 8.
I did the same thing. I told my neighbor there's no Santa Claus.
Yes.
I was that prick.
So he come over and I says, hey, yeah, you want a piece of fruit? Yeah, he forgets about it. So then I proceeded
to tell him orange in his face.
I proceeded to tell him everything about Adolf Hitler.
Oh,
because he's Jewish. He's half Jewish, half Catholic, right?
Okay.
And he went home whiter than a fucking albino, crying. So now the father, how could you? He called you. How? I said, I'll be right over.
He said, I believe in the truth.
Yeah. I says, what's the problem? Yeah. He says, how could you tell my kid about what thing? I said, what did you fucking tell me 2 days ago? You believe it? Did I tell a lie to the kid? I said, now I'll tell you what you're gonna fucking do, motherfucker. I said, what? I said, you can't come out of your house. Don't go to work. Don't go to school.
Oh, shit.
I'm not even making it up. I says, you can't go no place until I tell you you can leave.
Dude, look at these eyes. You're getting those crazy eyes again.
So bro. I said, I don't give a fuck. So now I got Dean Martin calling me up. He says, Frankie, I said, get another fucking drummer. He can't leave. His wife is begging me, Frankie, I don't give a fuck. I'm not the one that did what he did and did say what he said. Wow. So
that's it.
This is about 3-4 weeks that went by. I really.
And he stayed home?
Oh, yeah, because I meant it.
Yeah. Sure.
I meant it, Rob. You fucked my kid, you understand? And you say something like that to me, and you think I'm going to let you slide? Right? Okay. So now, my wife, I love her. So now it's the holidays. And I decorate. I used to decorate the whole corner. It looked like Rockefeller Center. So I call him up. I'm working on the roof. This is a true story. I haven't told this to nobody. And I call him up. He's got a big picture window right across from my house. And I says, go to the picture window with your wife and kids. He said, what? Go to the window. I said, you saw me working on the roof with the Christmas lights? He said, yeah. I says, I can't say. Let me know when I want to flitz this. I want to see if they're all working. You understand?
The Jewish people not like Christmas, or
They celebrate something different.
Okay.
I'll get to it.
Okay.
So do I? I says, make sure I can, because I can see. I said, make sure the kids are there and your wife, the 4 of you.
Okay.
I said, you ready? I'm going to switch the switch. He said, yeah. I flipped the switch, Dominic, and I got in blinking lights. I said, how do you like that, baby?
Oh.
He says, I said, now you can close the curtains. So the next day I'm back up on the roof. I swear to God, this is the truth. I said, go to the window again with your family. What now? What now? I said, go to the window. I'm going to flip the switch again. Oh, yeah. And I could see them. I said, I'm going to flip the switch. I flipped the switch and I changed it to Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. You understand? He saw that. Because that's how they celebrate Hanukkah.
And did that mean all was forgiven?
I forgave him. But I said to him, don't ever fuck with my family again. Whether it's through your kids, your wife, or you. You wouldn't like it. I'm just telling you that. And so you have my blessings, but don't do it again.
That's a great story.
And so that's the God's honest truth. And then I said, and now you can go shopping, you can go to school, you can go to fucking work. No. It's the truth.
That's a great story.
I've never told that,
Not bad.
None of my questions are gonna compare to the stories you have, but just something I want to ask. So Dean, because I know that Dean acted like he was drunk on stage, but from what I understand, sometimes some of the things that I read say that it was a complete act and he didn't even.
Most of the times it was an act.
Okay.
It was an act, yeah.
And I could tell you, Abbott and Costello, when Abbott lost his son to a drown, he never was the same. Dean Martin, I'm going to tell you another Dean Martin story you're not going to believe.
All right.
When Dean Martin lost his son in the plane crash, so he lost his kid. Dean was never the same anymore. And I know what he found because when I lost my girl a year or so ago, I'm not the same guy, Rob. You can knock me over with a fucking feather. I'm done, man. But I won't break my promises to her. Okay? And I didn't mean to get sentimental, guys.
No, that's okay.
But I'm going to tell you an unbelievable story.
All right.
And you can check this out.
Yeah.
There was a big club here in town for years and years and years called Capozzoli's.
Okay.
Everybody showed there, entertained, and boom, 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 and this and that. I actually, because I can't go into it, I was actually instrumental in him getting that building. It was another business ahead of time. I talked to the guy, and he relinquished his, thing, and Capozzoli's came in, who used to own the Tower of Pizza and all that there. It was the place to go. Ask around, the Capozzoli's. Actually, just before they got out of there, I was the best man at Bobby's wedding. You understand? Okay.
Did Frank Colada own Tower of Pizza? I know you don't like Frank Colada, but I thought he owned that Tower of Pizza. No. Oh, okay.
No.
I don't know.
No, that was Jasper that owned that.
Huh. Okay.
And you got me saying names. I don't want to say names. So when Dean Martin passed, about 30 guys, all the guys that from the neighborhood in Vegas, casino employees, all the people that would hang out in the nightclub, we all met at Capozzoli's. We're all at the bar. Paulie was the bartender. And we're all, oh man, we lost Dean now too. Now behind the bar, Dominic, and if you ask anybody that's still around, behind the bar, there might have been 150 pictures of celebrities that came in there, including Tom Jones and all. I just showed some very close pictures of Tom and me together. He used to come in my joint in Detroit. And we're all talking about it. And if you believe in anything spiritual sometimes, the energy about talking about Dean Martin was unbelievable. Wow. All of a sudden, there was a fucking crashing sound. And everybody went, what the fuck is that? Guess what? 150 pictures on the wall. His picture fell off the wall, broke a bottle of fucking liquor that was on there. And it just came off the wall. Now, there was like, I said, 30 guys in the fucking joint. A minute and a half. The only one that was left in there was the dishwasher, and he was running out. All these fucking tough guys. Get the fuck. His picture come off the wall. Damn. That's a true story.
Wow. That's awesome. I love it. I love it.
That's the gospel true story. So now, that's all right, because I can go from one thing to another.
I love it.
That's fantastic. Oh, man, that's great. That's great. Yeah, no, Dean was an all-time favorite in my household. So we grew up Steubenville, Ohio. He's from Steubenville, Ohio.
Yes.
So
yes,
right down the road from Pittsburgh.
I go all the way back. And I'm not supposed to be Atlantic City.
Yeah.
And there was a fellow by the name of Skinny DeMata, who owned the 500 Club. I used to go there when I was a young guy, and circumstances, people, and I knew people and stuff like that, And I want to make a disclosure here, fellas, so nobody makes a mistake. I knew and heard of a lot of different people, but I wasn't part of anybody. I would not be part of anybody. That's what made me so unique, Rob.
Not since the Mean 13 or whatever.
Not since the Mean 13.
So, it wasn't mean. Was it mean?
It was very mean.
Very mean.
I read a book on the 500 Club and Skinny DeMata.
Yeah, you know what? There's only a little sign. Some of the, that's where G. Martin and Jerry Lewis got their launch.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And it's really funny. You know Skinny, right?
Mm-hmm.
So back in the 70s, had a friend of mine that was going out with this girl, and then they broke up, and some guy come to town. I have to be a little sidestepping here, guys.
That's okay.
And he was staying with this here girl that used to go out with a friend of mine, and I liked her, We were friends much after he died too, And then one day she calls me up, like it probably happened to you numerous times in your lifetime, because
she's never called me.
No, but you understand, people always call because you could do what you got to do. And this guy gave her a fucking beating.
Oh.
And she says, Frankie, when you see what this guy did to me, I was trying to, so could you? I said, I'm on my way. She says, I don't know if you're going to want to bother with this guy, though. He's somebody. I says, you're my friend. It don't matter. So I go there. She looked like 6 miles of bad fucking Tobacco Road. That's what he did to her. Listen.
Yeah.
Maybe he could have gave her a slap. He didn't have to do what he had to do. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Well, was he proving his masculinity by beating up this fucker? All right. So I says, okay. I'm going to wait outside for him to come home. And then we'll do the two-step, She says, Frankie, I better tell you who he is. I says, who is he? Skinny DeMata's son.
Oh.
I says, Skinny DeMata's son? Now he's going to get a worse beating. Skinny was a good friend.
Yeah.
And if he's out here disrespecting his father, so now he comes and I says, hey, can I you? And I give him a good fucking tune-up. A high-test fucking tune-up. And he says to me, oh, yeah? When he came to, you're going to be dead very shortly. I said, is that right? Why? I've heard that before. He says, you don't know who my father is. I said, who's your father? He says, Skinny man. Oh, really? I says, come here with us. In those days, we didn't have cell phones. I said,
Sure.
Go tell your father. Call him up. Tell him I just did this to you. Call him. Dad, I'm here in Vegas and this fucking guy. His father said, really? Who is this motherfucker that did this to my son? He says he's standing right here. What's his name? He says, who? He says, put him on the phone. Hey, Skinny, how are you? Frankie, please, put my son on the plane and let him come home. Please, Frankie, all the years you know me. I said, Skinny, he really making you look bad. He did something terrible to somebody here that I'm a friend with. He says, I'll take care of this, please. I says, okay. He says, just let him get you in the airport. I'll take care of it. You got my word. And your word is good enough with me. You understand? So I says, your father wants to say something to you, you motherless motherfucker. He didn't like this here. He turned fucking like this here. His father says, just go to the airport. Get on a plane while you're able to. Because he shouldn't have did that to my friend. I don't tolerate, and I never tolerated anybody fucking with my family or my friends. Now, I want to disclose another thing to you, Dominic, and I'm not looking for sympathy.
Yeah.
I lost my oldest daughter, like I told you. There's a lot of things I would want to do, come out of retirement for. I won't do it because it would hurt too many other people, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. That's another thing I'm going to have to live with. I fight with that every day. You understand what I'm saying, Rob?
Did you promise her that you won't? That you said you promised her maybe that you won't get back on the.
I talked to my daughter today because my other daughter had a complete nervous breakdown over the loss of her sister and her whole family, my whole family, her children, her grandchildren. You know, I got a son. I got a grandson who's a police officer back east. He's an embarrassment to the family, but what the fuck am I gonna do? He's a cop. He's a good kid. I'm only kidding. But they all were worried that I was gonna break my promises and do something. And I says, if I do it, I'm the only one that's gonna be satisfied. I can't bring my daughter back, and a lot of other people are gonna suffer because of my doing that. So I made a promise that I'm not going to do nothing. And I fight with that every second of my life because if it was years ago, there'd be no question about it, you know? You can't,
yeah, but you could get away with a lot more years ago than you get away
but
with
I don't want to hurt anybody in my family or anybody else. I don't want to do it.
Anybody.
I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
And so I gave my word, and I never break my word. I don't break my word, no matter what it means. You know.
By the way, friend of the show, Frankie Citro, asking about regret and how you deal with regret. Like we've heard so much. We've heard Frankie so many times today. You know, things that he would do differently or whatever, and I was trying to explain. They were asking how I deal with regret and saying, you know, if you can't change the past, you got to move on. But one thing I didn't say that I've thought of, you know, I believe in reprogramming as an adult. You know, when you learn Santa's not real, but redefine it so that if you're still gonna feel that regret, but you know that you redefine it so that it means something different. Now it stands for just something you wouldn't do the same way over again, instead of standing for something that really holds you back and weighs you down. You just redefine it because you're always going to have regrets, right?
Right.
But that's how you live with them. That's how you live with them. You redefine it.
And I got to say something, guys, because of my mind and age, when something is said, it triggers a memory. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
You just mentioned something. So if you allow me, because I'm all about stories.
Yes.
Yeah.
We're a man show here. I love it.
I'm going to give you two of my best Christmas stories, okay?
All right. Yeah.
Here's how it goes. They're going to take a minute to tell now. Is that okay?
Sure.
Okay.
Oh, totally.
So the first Christmas story is this here. Little kid. What do most mothers do during the Christmas holidays with their kids? They take them to the mall to get their picture taken with Santa, right?
Right.
So this little kid, he's waiting on the line with his parent. Finally gets up on Santa Claus's lap. Santa Claus says to him, like he said a million times, and what do you want for Christmas, little boy? And the little kid says, look, Santa, I want a fucking truck under my Christmas tree. I want a fucking truck in my closet, and I want a truck behind my fucking couch. Santa says, hey, how's this? Talking to Santa, hey, fuck that bullshit. Make sure those trucks are there Christmas morning. Gets up, walks off. Santa says, I can't believe this little kid talking to Santa Claus like this. So, it comes Christmas Eve, Santa delivering the toys all around the world. Santa never forgets nothing. Gets to this kid's house, he says, I think I'll teach him a little lesson. So Santa puts a pile of shit behind the couch. He puts a pile of shit under the tree, and he puts a pile of shit in the closet. Now all the kids get up, they're looking at their toys. His friend who lives down the street comes running over and says, how'd you do? He says, how'd I do? He says, I think I got a fucking puppy, but I can't find this little bastard. All right, my next one. Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm ready.
So these three wise guys from Brooklyn,
Uh-huh.
they all died at the same time. It was during the Christmas holidays. They go up to see St. Peter about getting into heaven. And St. Peter says, we're filled up here. It's the holidays. We can't take you. And the wise guys from Brooklyn said, hey, what are we supposed to do? Is there anything that we can do to get into heaven? And St. Peter said, I'll tell you what I'll do. Because it's the Christmas holidays. If you could tell me something about Christmas that makes sense, I'll let you in. Says to the first wise guy from Brooklyn, what do you got? Reaches in his pocket, starts going like this. He says, what's that? He says, those are the jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle. St. Peter says, that's good, come on in. Says to the other wise guy from Brooklyn, what do you got? He reaches in his pocket, comes out with a cigarette lighter. Flick. He says, what's that? He says, this is the lights of Christmas. The light that shined over Bethlehem when Jesus was. He says, that's terrific. Come on in. Says to the third wise guy from Brooklyn, what do you got? He reaches in his back pocket. He pulls out a pair of pink lace panties. St. Peter says, what's that? He says, those are carols.
Oh, man, that's good.
They're going to be throwing that all over your listeners. I'm telling you.
Oh,
Is that
man.
a story?
That's a great one. That's a great.
Those
Maddie's
are
gonna like that one. Yeah, that's good stuff.
I want to tell you, fellas, you've made this very comfortable so far for me. I'm really enjoying myself, and I hope
It's a good time.
the
Hey,
listening audience is having a good time too. And boy, I wish you would have did this sooner.
Everything happens right when
you know
it's
what? I
supposed
think
to.
it's supposed to happen, and this is the proper time.
Yeah.
That I'm trying to get out there and build some moral support.
Yeah.
You
We
know-
don't want to talk about the stuff a while ago yet. Anyway. But
listen, I'm being honest with you. I'll give you an example.
yes, give us an example.
The major article, the Review Journal came out the day of my birthday, November 9th, a couple of weeks ago.
Happy birthday!
oh, happy birthday!
And then the next day, because that was on the front page, the next day I did a front page story for the United Kingdom.
Wow.
And when I did the interview there, it was a three-way conversation, which they already want to follow up. That's how they're intrigued with it.
Yeah.
But they said, well, we have a list of questions for you, Frankie. And we like to start with, way back when, how did you get in the book? Why did they do this and beat that book? And I said, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
They said, what? I said, look, in all due respect, everything punishable wise that they did to me, I went to prison, I paid the fines, I did this, way beyond the call of duty. Why would I want to rehash the past? If you want to talk about the future, that's what I'm here for. And you want to know something? They respected that. Why would I want to bring up to piss somebody off? Why would I want to rekindle a bad memory for somebody? I don't do that. I didn't do that. I pleaded not guilty anyway. You understand what I'm saying?
Since you were 11.
Since I'm 11 years old, Rob.
Yeah.
And I'm sticking to it. And no, I only want to talk about the future.
Yeah.
And it's not fair to anybody else for me to rehash that stuff. And don't forget, I'm going before a board of commissioners.
Mm-hmm.
That I'm saying, like, listen, man, I haven't done a friggin' thing wrong this much, 35, 40 years. Nobody, I don't know anybody. I'm the greatest survival story there is, man, you know?
But Frankie, do you think that, like, is your one-man show or possibly a book, would that be a platform where you would feel better about sharing?
Well, this is what I'm thinking, Rob, to be quite honest with you. And this is the team that I have put together, you know.
Even if you don't want to talk about the past, it's so interesting.
Yeah. Well, this is my thoughts. This would be what I would like to happen. I would think if they were gracious enough to take me off the list and take me out of the black book, I would think one of the casinos would definitely want me to be a host or something, and I would be able to do some of my shows there. Now I have an earning capacity. Then I could tell some stories, you know. They, in one of the interviews, you know, I have to earn a living. So sometimes I got to play the part as a gangster in a movie. You know, Joe Pesci used to live with me, you know, and stuff and do work with. Joe Pesci ain't no fucking gangster. I mean, he's an actor, you know. And
although someone said that he hired a mobster to whack one of his ex-wives or something. That's a story out there.
I know nothing. Some of Colonel Clink. Yeah, no.
That makes sense though, because
I have to earn a listen, Rob. I'm not.
You got to play it a certain way now, anyway.
Yeah, I go someplace. Listen, if I've done a lot of commercials and stuff like that. If I want to make fun of myself, I'll do it. But if somebody randomly thinks that they're going to stick it up my keister for Easter, I ain't letting it happen. I ain't letting it happen. You ain't gonna listen. I used to love, and I don't really like the guy. You know what I'm saying? Personally, for a lot of years, and I don't like the way he talks nowadays. Robert De Niro.
Oh, okay.
He's a good actor,
mm-hmm.
And you know every movie he does. There's that scene that is so compelling, like Al Pacino, but I don't like him personally. And I did 2 movies with him. And but I've done so many jobs just to earn a living and bring some money home, Rob. Yes, and I've had some businesses of my own, you know. But you know, when you got people sitting on your doorstep looking for you to, they're almost forcing you to do something wrong.
They're all on your nutsack.
Right.
His nutsack.
And I don't give in. And you know what? I've earned the respect for a lot of people that didn't know me and hated me. You understand what I'm saying? And when they got to know me, they said, wait a fucking minute.
Right.
Where's this guy you told me about?
Right.
I haven't seen that in 40 fucking years, you know?
Yeah.
So
so we need to get you free from the black books. So
you know, I had 2 women tell me 2 days ago, you know what they said to me? This is amazing. Frankie, I don't know these women. They're all on my side. They say, we want to get T-shirts made up. Free Frankie.
Hey, I like it.
Yeah.
Is that fucking cool as
I'll
shit?
wear one.
I'd wear one. I'd wear one. Hell yeah.
Now, can I tell you another funny story that happened just 2 nights ago?
Yeah.
You're talking too much.
No.
No. So the point of the show.
So about the 9:30 a couple of nights ago, I feel like I want a sandwich. I go to this place. I go on West Sahara. I've been going there since 1969. It's been around.
What place is it?
The Blue Ox.
Okay, I guess
Yeah, it's over by Burlington. That wall. And I go there. They got a great Reuben sandwich, and sometimes I just have the pastrami, and I go there. So I feel like having a sandwich. I go there the other night.
Mm-hmm.
I walk in and there's a friend of mine I haven't seen in a while. Hey, what are you doing here? She said, well, they're going to have karaoke here in a minute because he sings karaoke, right? I said, no kidding. So I said, let's have a sandwich together. Okay. So this guy, he's a friend of mine, and he likes to go to all these karaoke places. In fact, I was at a place about a year and a half ago with him. And the girl that's doing the karaoke in this place now, she remembers me. And I used to hang out in another club. And the mother used to know me, Oh, Frankie, how are you? She said, are you going to do a song? I said, no, I don't want to do it. Yeah. So he gets up and does a song.
Uh-huh.
He sings like I just did fucking diarrhea. You hear what I'm telling you? That's how bad he is. But I don't do that. He's my friend. I can't tell him, you fucking terrible, And there's a much younger crowd. And when he gets finished singing, I see the owner who's sitting at his table hand him something, but I don't question it. He says, come on, Frankie, do a song. I says, all right. So I do a song. I do pretty good. I get a good round of applause, right? And I'm going back to my booth to sit down with him. And the owner comes over and he hands me a ticket. I said, what the fuck is this? He says, well, we're going to have a raffle. I sit down. I said, what? He says, no, they're going to. And now she announces in 10 minutes we're going to have a raffle for Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
10 minutes go by, they do the raffle. They call my fucking number.
Oh.
And the owner comes over and hands me a fucking ham this big, one of those pre-cooked hams at a spot. I said, what? He says, well, we can't give away turkeys. And, we're going to give away a half a dozen or so hams. And you drew the. So now I come home with a fucking ham, which I'm going to put on my Thanksgiving Day table for people, because my wife's a vegetarian and most of my kids are. No, I'm not. But there'll be a ham on the. Whoever, I want a fucking. I said to the guy, couldn't you give away color TV? Yeah, fucking ham. He said, get the fuck out of here.
Karaoke ham. Karaoke ham for Thanksgiving.
I think it's amazing that you're still out there, like on the streets, like.
Well, I think if I didn't do that, Rob, I think I would just fade away completely. There's an energy in me. People always say that, and I have a desire, and I made some promises. And I don't know why, people say to me, how come your fucking hair is still dark, That's all that non-stressful fucking prison life I had. What the fuck I know? Now my mustache gets pure white. So every once in a while I do that, because it don't look right?
Yeah.
Sometimes the little bit that's left off, I give it a little comb job, but my hair is still, the fuck I know why it is. I mean, it's.
How much time do you spend like at home? Like where you're like just home for the night?
No, I spend a lot of time with my wife and all. My wife is a champion of champions, Rob. She's been with me 50 years. She still goes to work. She's in her late 70s. She's physically doing it, but she's keeping up what she has to do and what she feels that she wants to do. Yeah. She's been with me through thick and thin. This is a champion. And because, they were not, when I was rolling good, I mean, one of the documentaries that, once in a while, because every husband and wife, every boyfriend girl has an argument now and then. That happens. And, we're so old right now. We have what you call hallway sex. I pass her in the hallway and I say, fuck you. She says, no, fuck you. Anyway, she's got some rheumatoid arthritis, which is horrible. She's old. But she's done it all, you know,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna quit on her.
No.
Because she's never quit on me
Right.
through everything. That means a lot, you know. And I made some promises to her, and I'm going to keep them. I'm going to keep them.
It's good. It's good to have, you know, some value so you can respect yourself. That's something I learned the hard way.
If you can't respect yourself, you won't respect nobody.
That's it. That's it.
I have a couple of slogans, Rob, that I've done in different documentaries, you know, that people, my heart doctor, he uses one of the slogans that is mine, you know. I say stuff like, you treat me better, you treat me good, I'll treat you better. Treat me bad, I'll treat you worse.
Nice.
Okay? I like that one.
I
like
that.
that.
You know,
That's good.
and I would say in another documentary, just think of me as a sleeping dinosaur. You don't want to fucking wake me up. You know,
Yeah.
I'm being honest with you. You don't want to wake me up.
Right.
Because, but I'm not going to do that, you know. And proof of it is it by losing my daughter under the circumstances, I'm not going to do certain things.
No.
And I'm not going to disappoint or disrespect this commission. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But my aspirations is that, like I said, that if they show some kindness, I might be able to go in there and put on 1 or 2 shows, you know, and stuff. And now I know in my, this is not ego or whatever word you want to put to it. I know if I put on a show, people are going to come because I know what to do, you know?
Yeah.
I know what to do. I know what they would want to hear and see, you know?
Absolutely. And you're a great storyteller too, which is awesome.
Well, that's part of my whole life. It's the stories, you know?
Right.
And, I don't practice it, you know? It's just something.
You live it.
It's just like
Mhm.
I'm somewhat an authority on oldie but goodie music, doo-wop.
Yeah. Yeah. Heck yeah.
studied it. I retained it because listen, I don't read books. There's been fucking indictments I never read. I don't do it. You know?
I love it.
After when he needed to get out of the contract with Tommy Dorsey, or do you know that story?
That's way back.
Yeah.
And that happened too.
Well,
Yeah, you know, actually, I'll tell you a story. See, you remind me of stuff.
yeah.
And I'll mention my name. When I was on, you know who Dennis Farina is, the actor?
Yes. Yes, sir.
Dennis was my very good friend. I was on the TV series Crime Story for 2 years with him. I did a lot of technical advising. I did a lot of stuff, you know, whatever. And they really liked me. And there was a lot of things I couldn't do because of the restrictions that I had on me, you know. And so anyway, there were 2 fellas with the same name. One was Jimmy Roselli, and there was another Jimmy Roselli. One Jimmy Roselli was the singer, like Sinatra, and the other one was a gangster. So now they're going to do a movie about Jimmy Roselli, the singer. Now this is something that Frank Sinatra stifled his career, you understand? And I know the whole story and what really happened. And so I get the call. They want me to audition for a part in the up-and-coming movie about Jimmy Roselli. And it's in California. And I said, I'm going to go, you know. So I go with my own clothes and stuff like that there. And when I went into the plaza, they had a beautiful building. I went into the plaza. There was so many people auditioning for different parts. I couldn't count them all. And I heard guys, I saw name actors go, that's the guy who got the part. Just the way I walked, the way I didn't say a word. He says, that fucking guy. Look the way I had a suit on, a a fucking tailor-made fucking suit on that was like $2,000 shark skin, right? So I go in, and I'm downstairs, and the director for this here movie, with John Travolta was the star, was supposed to be a $90 million budget that they expected to go to at least $120 million, right?
Yeah.
So now they call me after a period of time to come upstairs to do the audition. It's just like Hollywood, man. They got lights, camera, action, boom, everything's set up like this is an audition and reading, you know. So Vincent says to me, hey, Frankie, I want to thank you because he heard that I used my own money to come in for this audition. You understand?
Oh, wow. Yeah, yeah.
And, he says, I'm really thankful because certain people spoke for me a little bit about me a little bit, you know? So he says, are you ready? I said, yeah, let's do it. I says, can I ask you a question? He says, what? I says, are you one of those directors that like it to hear word for word the way it's written? Or could somebody put their own spin to it the way they feel, you know? He says, you know, Frankie, because you came here with your own money and all, why don't you do it the way you would want to do it? That's okay with me. He says, in fact, instead of that woman that's going to read the lines with you, I'm going to read them. The whole cast is like, this never fucking happens. This fucking like this. Cameramen, lighting men, fucking all the other people, directing. They're like, what the fuck? This guy never does that. So anyway, I'm not going to, you know, do it exactly, but he says the line to me, and I go like this. Are you fucking kidding? He ain't going to kill Jimmy. Jimmy's mother, Window's mother, loves Jimmy Roselli. She's got his picture on the fucking refrigerator. Ain't no way that fucking guy going against his mother. Forget about it. You better get somebody else because he ain't fucking doing it. Cut. Everybody's like,
Killed it.
He says, what the fuck did you? He says, Frankie, how come you laughed when you did that? I said, well, that's the way the guy would have did it. He said, what are you talking about? You know that? I said, yeah. I know all the guys. He says, you know all the people? It's included Jim Roselli. He's a good friend of mine. Nobody's told me. So now he says to me, let me get a snapshot of you. I said, no, because I'm pretty hip too. He said, I said, I gave my headshot downstairs. He said, no, I want to get a, now I know what that means. He takes my snapshot. I say, thank you very much. Beep, bap, boom, boom, boom. And I had to ride, you know, because I don't know my way around. And then take me back to the airport. I come back to Vegas. He puts my picture up what they call the storyboard.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
So if somebody is considered for a part or makes the part, who walks in the door but Steve Sharippa to do a part, right, from The Sopranos?
From Sopranos, yeah.
Yeah, which I turned down that show, and that's another night, another story.
Oh,
Wow.
There's a whole reason for it.
yeah. Wow.
And Steve Sharippa comes in, says hello to Gus Van Sant, and looks up at the storyboard. He says, that's Frankie up there. And Gus Van Sant says, you know that guy? He says, do I know that guy? He saved my life one night in Vegas because some guys were going to kill me. I was working as a bouncer. He wouldn't let it happen.
Oh, that's right. He did it to Riviera.
Well, he was the big guy at the Riviera. That's how he gets to be a big guy. But this was way before. That Jew boy could fight. Don't look at the Bobby Bacala, the fucking heavy guy. Give him a fucking problem. See if he gets really down. So anyway, he says, I says, oh, I know him real good. My phone rings here in Vegas. It's him, Frankie. Yeah, it's Citro. He says, you got that part. He says, Vincent said, this guy shows up here. Nobody knew who he was. He said, somebody said, this guy's like a little bit of the real deal. He says he aced the part over 500 fucking known actors. Wow. He says they never did the movie.
Oh.
Wow.
John Travolta's schedule was different than what they had planned.
Uh-huh.
And John Travolta had other commitments that he had to make. Otherwise, it would have cost him a lot of money. So they never did the fucking movie.
Wow.
And now
But you got
That-
connections.
Oh yeah, but I don't never ask nobody anything. You never
No,
see
but
me
at
ask.
least they have you in mind. Maybe.
Oh yeah, they I would get calls and shit.
Yeah.
Dennis Farina. I was doing Midnight Run. You know.
Yeah,
the
that's a great movie. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Anyway, I was doing a lot of stand-in and technical advising. That's a whole nother story for that shit. Yeah. But
And just,
yeah,
just small question.
sure.
But the mobster was Johnny Roselli, right? Or
Jimmy Roselli.
So did Johnny have a brother? Because Johnny
It's a
Roselli.
different person.
Oh, total different. Because he did Vegas to
I
California.
don't know these things now. Cut it out. I
Just
think
Johnny
I
Roselli
said
said
it in a book.
Yeah.
Spot, Dick, and Jane, and Jimmy Roselli. Yes, I know.
Okay.
Yeah, Johnny is the gangster.
Well, I
there
know,
was-
but he's saying there's a Jimmy too. So I was just trying to.
You want to hear the real story? Why Jimmy Roselli never became like a Sinatra?
Why? Yeah.
I told you. In fact, I saved his life in New York City. Jimmy
Whoa.
Roselli, singer. I'm talking too much.
No, not unless.
No.
Not unless you're tired. You know.
No, I'm good. I'm
but-
good. I'm having. Did you want to take a break?
Do we have a bunch of questions in the chat room?
I just have a couple of super chats. Is all. That's it.
Okay, do what you got to do. I'm ready.
Okay. Frank Turizo, another Frankie. He says, "Como Steve Franco? You guys have been everywhere.
Body.
What nationality produces the toughest people? How about the wildest people? What nationality would you say is the toughest there, Frankie?"
You know, let me just say this to you, and this is not being. I think being tough can come from any nationality, but you know, if you're raised in the New York metropolitan area where you're from, or whatever, and back in those days, you had to be tough. First of all, if you were Italian, Rob, you couldn't get a job. If you had black hair, you know, it was most of the Irish would have it and stuff like that. So you grew up tough, you know. In the neighborhood, all the guys would give you a slap in the head. That was an achievement to get that fucking slap, you know. So but they recognized you, you know. I'll give you and I knew him, Marciano. You heard of Marciano?
Oh, Rocky Marciano. Oh, yeah.
He really wanted to be a baseball player. They said his arm wasn't strong enough, and he knocked down every fucking body.
You know,
But the thing was, he was relentless, and he punched like a son of a bitch, you know. And to give everybody their credit, it doesn't matter whether you're white, black, Chinese. There's tough guys in every nationality. I would say there's an awful lot of. There's all different kind of tough guys too. You understand what I'm saying?
Mhm.
I coined the phrase years ago. Guy be over in fucking Elizabeth, we'll say New Jersey. I'm in Jersey City. I had to say something. And he's saying, yeah, fuck you. Man. You know, that's a telephone tough guy. Do it fucking and see if you get the fucking sentence finished. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's a telephone tough guy.
Yeah.
And, you know, guys that went off to war, World War II, Korea, you know, a lot of those guys, they weren't tough guys, but the circumstances made them tough. You know,
For sure. Yeah.
put anybody in short pants. You know, look, you take a father who has a kid and somebody does something to his kid, he can be the most gentle, you'll turn him into a fucking animal. You take a guy who maybe did something wrong in his life and put him in prison with every kind of fucking low life there is and see if that man don't change.
Right.
That's a guy.
Yeah.
That's a
Very different types of tough
I
guys.
asked him this year with a couple of his friends. He said, "Dad, what really is a tough guy?" And I'm going to tell you a couple of things now. You might know. I've done a lot of stuff. I said, "You know what a real tough guy is?" I said, "When somebody's shooting at you and you're still going for the motherfucker, that's a real tough guy." Think about what I just said. So now, you guys are hip. I can't get credit for this, but if you folks out there look it up, you'll see what I'm talking about. You know who I like to meet one day? You know the actor Van Diesel?
Oh yes, yep.
Big action guy. Well, he does a movie called Knock Around Guys.
I've heard of that.
There's a scene. I want you guys to look it up.
Mm-hmm.
They stole from me in real life. They stole it from me in real life. I'll give you a little parry to it. They go to this town. And here's I'm throwing the bouquets of flowers at myself again.
John Favreau, like the guy Iron Man.
John Favreau.
Yeah, didn't he do Knock Around Guys?
Let me take a look.
They just float around like different restaurants or something?
No, they were always trying to make their bones someplace, you know. But there's a scene that Van Diesel does. He's a tough guy. And he goes against the local tough guy who's got everybody petrified. And basically, he confronts him after he gets the word from this guy, and he says, 500. 500. The guy says, what does that mean, 500, motherfucker? 500. That's how many fights it takes to get a hardened skin like I got to prove that you are a fucking tough guy. That nothing ever bothers you when you get hit, get shot, get stabbed, and you're still coming. And then he breaks this guy's motherfucking ass.
That's not the movie I was thinking of.
No, but that was me, Rob.
Awesome. Yeah.
And so, you know, over the years, people grab a little bit of this. They do it with you. They do it with Dominic. People grab things and they manifest it into there. And so I was that guy back then, you know, and I'd love to be able to say, who told you to give you that 500, you know?
Right.
Because, and I tell you, if you look up on your computer and he does that scene, you're going to fall. And let me tell you something about Van Diesel. Van Diesel did another movie called Find Me Guilty.
Yeah.
I want to see that movie. Yeah.
I was just thinking about that.
That was about my friend.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Van Diesel should have got the Academy Award for that. People don't know how true he was to that character that he portrays. Wow. Jackie DeNorcio was a motherfucker. Van Diesel had him down. You know, he saved about 30 guys from going to jail. That's one of the best fucking wise guy movies ever made.
Man, I got to see it.
I know my shit, Dominic. Believe me.
Hey, I mean, I bet you gave them a joke that he uses in court where he says, this belongs to the butcher, right? And the judge said, what did he say? And
This is mine, this is mine.
yeah.
I know.
You gave that to him.
Well, I didn't give that, but
Okay.
I knew him. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Van Diesel played some. Listen, Alice Rocco, who was in The Godfather, played Mo Green, and I did some other shows and stuff. He never was a tough guy, but he got the tough guy roles. You know,
Sure.
Yeah.
Man.
Fuck.
How about that? Maddie asks about, I don't know if you have any stories about this person, but when you were talking about James Brown, he brought up Rick James. Do you have any Rick James stories?
Yeah, well, he was a fucking cuckoo bird.
Yeah, he was.
He loved oldies too.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. But, you know, he had his problems. Everybody's got a skeleton in the closet somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
You know what? When I hear people say, oh, I never did this and I never did that, they profess to be the best thing since fucking ice cream. I swear to God, my fucking sponge gets saturated right away with them. That's like a guy who says he never jerked off. You know he's a lying motherfucker. When I found out I had a dick, I couldn't wait to grab that motherfucker. You understand what I'm saying? You know.
But I like to believe someone like you when you say you're honest and don't lie.
I won't lie.
No, but I'm just saying
If I don't want to
some people they're lying when they say that. You
know, Pacino in Scarface, which I had gotten a call about that movie. They thought it was going to be about Al Capone. It wound up being about the Manuelitos from Cuba.
Yeah.
He says there's a line, there's two lines that I love in there, but one of the lines he says, I thought the truth even when I lie. But one of the lines in that movie, because I think the movie is full of shit, but it's okay. But I used to like, and I love him as an actor, Murray Abrahams. Who played
yeah.
Okay. And so Pacino, he don't get along with him. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And Murray Abrams is with the main guy, and he's always trying to stick it up his fucking ass and this and that. So now they find out he has been doing the wrong thing, and they're in Cuba, and they're sitting, or Florida, I forget what the setting was, and the main guy gives he's gonna go back to New York or whatever, and they get him up in the plane, and they throw him out of the plane. You know the scene?
Yeah.
And Pacino leans over to the main guy and he says, "You know, I'll never like that guy."
Yeah.
What a fucking setting that was.
Yeah.
You know, never did like that guy.
Yeah. Yeah. He's not,
great.
I'm not with him. Hey, did you know the Tony Montana that used to make pizza here? Of course you did. From Chicago, right? Was that Mount Servius Pizza?
He was a tough guy.
Oh, he was.
There was two Tony Montanas. The one that you're talking about, there was a cook like that there, but he was involved. He knew some people.
Was that Vesuvius Pizza, or well, he probably went
Tower Pizza?
It was Tower Pizza.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then he went something else.
Okay. But then there was another Tony Montana, or just
he lived off the name. You know. He was a friend with Tony Spilotro and all.
Gotcha.
You know, and somebody just recently wrote that I was friendly with Tony Spilotro. I knew of him and he knew of me, but I wasn't friends with him, you know.
Yeah.
And that's another night, you know. But I introduced it into law, Rob.
You what?
I introduced what I'm going to take it into law, because this is how it works. Somebody can write an article about you, Dominic. Put it in the paper, and then the government can use that as law. How do you dispute it? How do you dispute it? I'll give you a very bad example, two things that I fought. Can't overcome it though, because it's still out there. I was away, they did some articles, and they said, it's in the department right now, you'll see that how they say brass knuckles, fucking mafia and all. Somebody wrote, Frankie Citro, he gives you that brass knuckles therapy. This is a reporter just trying to be overzealous.
Sure.
And he figures I never was coming out. I was going away and facing 700 fucking years at the time. I never did that to anybody.
Right.
But he fucking had to put the brass knuckle. Well, that's out there now all the time.
Right.
Another thing is that I refused to let happen. When I was in court, there was another fellow by the name of Frank also involved in the case.
Mm-hmm.
He was 3 times the size of me. I'm not that very big of a guy, but he was. So in all the FBI surveillance, not knowing exactly who each of us was, they put down he was Big Frankie and I was Little Frankie. They did that. Boom, they get submitted. Next thing you know, I'm Little Frankie. That makes it sinister. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I'm in the courtroom, and the fucking prosecutor acknowledges the fact, and Little Frankie, I said, "Oh, motherfucker, where you getting that fucking Little Frankie from?" Well, that's what you want to call me. My mother never called me Little Frankie. You ain't gonna fucking call me. So you have to use my fucking legitimate name in this courtroom or not. And I said, Your Honor, don't let it fucking happen. I told her, what I give a fuck? I'm going to prison. What I give a fuck? Why would I want? But see, they write it and they still use it. You understand?
Act like it's your street name.
Right.
That's making you more sinister. That's not the look. Bad example. You've wrestled some of the fucking most iconic motherfuckers there is. You didn't walk away with everything fucking hunky dory. You went, oh my fucking back, the fucking guy threw me so fucking hard, right? But you know,
Yeah.
and they say, hey, that fucking Rob Van Dam, he didn't look so good the other night. He was a little weak on this and that. And they write it. You
Oh, Rob knows all about that.
You know what's happening?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, Rob definitely knows that.
Who knows better than I knew about that? Well, I don't hate nobody. I understand everybody's got a job, but
Right.
You want to hear a reported job? You never fucking heard this one. I'm going to tell you.
Uh-oh.
Tonight's all about history, guys.
Yeah.
So there was a reporter many years ago in New York, Irish guy. He hated the mob, hated it with a fucking passion. Every chance he got to write something, he made sure that it was so fucking humble, you know, to make whoever he was writing about look really bad. Right. So some people came to him and said, you know what, why don't you back up a little bit? Don't be so fucking zealous. Every time he did it, they did it worse. Once, twice he was told, they went and told him, and says, you better not do it no more. He did it worse. So he wakes up the next morning. I gotta watch what I say here. He wakes up the next morning, he has this terrible pain in his stomach. So they have to bring him to the emergency room. And the doctor says, we got to operate on this guy right away. And they remove a cucumber from his fucking rectum.
Oh my God.
Up his rectum.
Oh.
But that's not the problem. That's not the problem. You know what the problem was? There was a note in the fucking cucumber. It had a little slice with a fucking piece of paper with a note. You know what the note said?
No.
The next time it's going to be a watermelon, motherfucker.
My goodness.
He didn't write another thing for a long time. And up until when he died, you know, he started writing some shit, but he just was relentless. There's things that I know that I will never disclose because I just know it, you know, that's it. That's it. It's not a badge of honor. It's not I will never betray it. And people want to know. And majority of all what's happened to me, guys, is because for many years on different levels, they wanted me to try to cooperate with them, which I would never do. Why would I do that? Rob, why would I want to say something bad about you? There's no reason for me to do it. If you did something to me, then I'd straighten it out with you. Yeah. If you was a guy that was a no good motherfucker, I'd say, hey, that fucker up. But I'm gonna tell what you did. I'm not fucking. What are we fucking kids here?
Self-preservation, though. People stooge so that they can get.
They want to climb up the ladder. They want to listen. People nowadays. You know, years ago, the cops used to slap you so you would talk. Nowadays, they got to slap you to shut you the fuck up. You told them to. Hey, I just thought about a story. You want to hear another story?
Oh, hit me. Yeah, hit me with it.
I'm doing too much.
No. Hey, this is the point of the show. You're A-okay.
This is funny. So this is back in Jersey, way back. I'm sitting with a friend of mine in his convertible, just enjoying the summer evening. In those days, I used to smoke cigarettes. I was smoking with this.
I always picture a cigar every time we talk about
I used to smoke cigars, but I was smoking them like they was cigarettes. It would bother me. But anyway, when I had my open heart surgery, I haven't had a cigarette in over 10 years now. I'm sorry that I didn't quit sooner because I probably would have had less health problems. So we're sitting there, we're listening to a couple of oldie but goodies, which were newies then, just enjoying the evening.
Newies. Talkies.
And now up pulls a squad car right alongside of us. And I immediately turned the fucking radio up louder. And the car, So I lower it and I say to the cops and my friend, they got us. Next thing you know, we're in the police station.
Okay.
Now I know this guy. He ain't gonna tell them fucking square one. Yeah, I know this guy. I don't care what they do to him. He's not gonna give up nothing. So now they've been to the police station. In those days, they used to give it to you. You know. So they got him in one room. They got me in another room, and whatever they ask him, they're slapping the shit out of him. He's got fucking blood coming out of his ears. Everybody there fucking. I'm in the other room. They brought in a stenographer. In those days, they didn't have computers. They get handwriting. Whatever they asked me, I confess to. Whatever they asked me. The guy wrote so much, he had fucking stack of paper like this here, legal pad. He had fucking like his hand was like this here. Finally, the cop said, Frankie, you told us enough. That's enough, okay?
We don't want more paperwork.
Yeah. So the guy couldn't write no more. So he says, sign this here statement. I said, what statement? What statement? The one you just gave us for a fucking hour and 40 minutes. I said, you believe that? They give me a fucking crack. Like you can't fucking believe. Get this motherfucker out of here. They throw me out. They throw him out. And they're not going to give us a ride. So now we're walking back to our neighborhoods. And he's fucking really hurt. They fucking give it to him good. Me, I ain't got a fucking blemish. Except the one time they cracked me. He said, Frankie, not for nothing. Why did you say they got us? And we didn't do a fucking thing. I said, well, you know I love you, right? I said, we go together, and I says, I would never want to harm you. I said, you remember a while back ago I told you to do something and you didn't do it? And then I reminded you and you said you'd take care and you never did it. I said, most times somebody for that will get clipped or fucking a hospital beat. But I love you. So I didn't want to beat you up. There's no way I was going to fucking cash your check. So I let the cops do it. Now when I ask you to do something, I think you're going to respond. You say, you motherfucker. Do you understand the psychology? I let the cops beat them up.
You let the cops give you a free flight over to back to New York too.
That was a fucking beauty. You know another thing I did? So I always would have a little bit of balls, you know. So I've been on aircon a lot of times, you know. So
Aircon?
Yeah, aircon. You know, they transport the prisoners.
Oh, okay.
That's how they did the movie.
Oh, Con Air.
Oh, Con Air, yeah.
So that's another story, but
okay.
So now they got to take me back. They're gonna get me on a commercial flight. So they got me handcuffed and shit like that. The guy's a real prick, you know. And people say, well, what the fuck, you know? And I'm different than most people, the way I conduct myself and all and stuff like that.
Sure.
And the stewardess was gorgeous.
Oh.
She was fucking gorgeous. So now she's trying to do some stuff for me, but the guy won't let it happen. You understand? And I said, I understand, sweetheart. I said, but this can't happen. She says, I'm going to prison. I said, they're taking me to prison. You know? I said, oh my God. So we're getting off the plane. And I says, you know, I'd like to ask you something. She says, what? All the other stewardesses, in those days, you have one better than the other, you know. Nowadays, they look like fucking Margaret Hamilton from the fucking Wizard of Oz. Anyway. So she says, why? I said, you know, where I'm going to be gone for a while. It's going to be a long time that I'm going to hold a woman, you know. I says, would you mind if I put my arms around you? Now, the guy's trying to fucking get me. She says, would you mind if I give you a hug before I go? She says, go ahead. And I put my arms around her and I give her a hug.
And you're cuffed to the guy? I'm
cuffed to the marshal. Mm-hmm. The other students pushed us together closer, and she puts a lip lock on me.
Ooh.
Oh.
Boom, boom, boom. This guy is furious. And and I'm gonna milk this motherfucker, right?
Yeah.
So it worked out so good. I took other flights when I wasn't incarcerated and told the fucking stewardess, just so I could kiss the motherfucker.
Yeah. That was a good kiss.
That was good smooch right there.
Way on my heart, it's gonna be
Great stuff. Great stuff.
Yeah.
Frankie asks another question to you, Frankie and Rob. What was your first good job that you guys had? First good job that you enjoyed?
My first good job, I guess, was filling vending machines. I drove a vending truck around, and I was saving money for wrestling school, so I was able to eat a bunch of the food.
right.
And plus I pocketed a bunch of the money too, which I'm not real proud of, but I got some friends hired and they were doing it, and then I felt stupid for not doing it because it was so easy, but I ate a lot. I ate a lot of free food and slept. I would sleep for hours in that truck a day in between stops and shit.
That sounds like a great job.
That was my first good job.
I would think, I've said this numerous times, I have very little formal education because I always used to go out and try to earn $1 even when I was a kid. And from a very early age, my whole family was in construction, whatever, and I was a cabinet maker and radiator cover maker. I did all the cornices. I was a carpenter, then I wound up building houses and everything.
Wow,
so I would say that, and I had done my own businesses back home, which is other stories, but I built a lot of houses, so I knew how to do all that stuff, But I would say that was like, but you asked me that question for your friend. What was my first good job? So now in Kingsburg, New Jersey, my whole family were partners on a bungalow, and the whole family used to go down there in those days. You understand? On any given weekend, there could be 35, 40 fucking people in a couple of rooms that would wind up building it bigger. So all the kids for the summer, there were different farms that they would go work on, right? But I was the youngest, so I couldn't go that. That meant I had to go with grandma, take her to the water, go up and down in the water because they can't swim. But then the next summer, I graduated to go with my cousin, who was older by a couple of years. And what we used to do, we used to go on the beach and hustle soda bottles. In those days, you could get a deposit, a penny, 2 cents, a big bottle, maybe a nickel. And we'd go up and down the beach, miles back and forth, hustling to get the things. And then, I was an entrepreneur. They would want to bring it back. And at the end of the day, we'd have a couple of dollars. Yeah. We'd come back. We used to jump the fence, steal the same bottles we gave them 3 times in one day. And then we'd come home, and I'd give grandma her tribute. You got to give her a little kick in, right? Because if you always needed a nickel, you're going to go to grandma. So now the summer's over. It's winter time. Now we're going to go back the next summer. I says to my cousin, Patty, we're going to take this fucking thing up a notch. She says, what are we going to do? I says, fuck these bottles. I ain't staying out in the sun all day long for fucking nickels and dimes. We're going to make some money. You're going to do what I tell you. Now, he's older than me. Yeah. He said, what are we going to do? So I said, you watch, because he was fast. He could run even in the sand. And I was pretty good. And to shorten up this long story, I would look for lovers or husbands and wives.
Okay.
What they do every time they would go in the water, they take their wallet and put it under the blanket. I'd be sitting on the fucking thing like this. When they would go underwater, I'd go take the wallet from under the blanket, take it on the fucking giddy up. And so it went from nickel to dollars, Fucking Patty, he says, I say, you want in on this or you don't want? I give a fuck. I don't need you to do this, And so we made some money. Now I went back to grandma. Instead of giving her 35 cents, I'm giving her $5 or $6. You think she questioned where I got it? She's a fucking gangster herself. Good enough. I haven't thought about that in years. I was earning, you know what I'm saying? I feel terrible that I did this now, but I can't change.
You've already paid for it. I'm sure.
Yeah.
Hey, if you wanna or if you wanna go longer, I need a break. I got a.
I'm good. Whatever you want to do.
Because I mean, what about you, Dom?
I'm up for whatever you guys want to do. I mean, okay. We're at 2.5 hours almost, so we're good. Yeah.
Great time,
Well, listen, if you want to call it, I'm good with it. You know, I'll do this for you guys.
Yeah.
If everything is okay with you two and your audience liked what I said, I hope I haven't offended anybody. I'll be more to come back another time and we could talk about some other stuff. I can give you an update of what's going on. I would like if we was to reach out to your audience and tell them to share what I'm doing on Facebook or something and look me up because I can use all the moral support I can get right now.
Absolutely.
And you can tell them how to spell my name. It's got it up there right now.
Right up there, yep.
And I'll accept them, you know, if they want to get me on Facebook and whatever. And because I'm going to be starting my own TikTok account in a couple of weeks.
Oh,
and
wow.
So doing a couple of little things and just try to build up an audience.
Cool. Let's do it.
This is an awful big thing for me, guys. And
yeah.
Once again, I'll say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I really mean it. Thanks you for letting me come here.
This was great.
And
awesome.
I'll be more than happy to come back another time, Dominic, for you. And
we would love that. We'd love that. I'd love to hear more stories.
Always remember this.
Yes. Thank you.
You can always get a lot more with a kind word and a gun than just fucking kind word.
That's it.
Al Capone, right?
Yeah.
Oh, look, Rob there. Yeah.
That was. I like to do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
And you'd be surprised how many people know all those sayings. You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, guys.
Frankie, this has been great. Rob, this has been awesome as always. Heck yeah. Guys, if you like what you're seeing, be sure to support Frankie. Look him up, Google him. And Frankie, any Facebook links or anything you want to send Rob, and we'll get.
Well, I don't know much about that sort of thing. So if somebody goes and looks Frankie Citro up on Facebook and they want me to friend them, I'll do it.
There we go.
I don't know how to do it any other way right now.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, for sure. So we'll get the word out about some stuff, and this will release the week after Thanksgiving, so we'll have a good amount of.
Yeah, and I'll get back with Rob because I need to, because other people are going to want to know when they can see this. You know.
Sure.
Yeah. Yes. I could go for hours. So I guess
we
got to cut it sometime.
No. Listen, one thing will get onto another story. We gave them a little bit for their money.
We'll get you back on here, and we can definitely hit some more stories for sure.
Not the bomb, Dominique.
Heck yeah. Well, guys, thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you next time here on One of a Kind with RVD and Frankie.
Thanks, Van Dam fam.
See you guys next time.